Hi again. Last week I made mention of the expression, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. And without a doubt, I am sure that once again, you have the image of three monkeys sitting there, one with his hands over his ears, the other with his hands over his eyes, and the other one with the hands over his mouth. I talked about hear no evil, how it is best to be careful as to what we listen to, because what you allow yourself to hear will ultimately be reflected in your actions. Instead, it is best to listen for God's voice, because his words are life and peace and joy and hope, offering you blessings beyond your imagination. So today's devotional is on see no evil. Matthew 6:22 in the New Century Version says, "The eye is the light for the body. If your eyes are good, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are evil, your whole body will be full of darkness. And if the only light that you have is really darkness, then you have the worst darkness." Jesus is saying here that we need to be careful as to what we look at and what we are exposed to. Our minds never forget the things we see. They are stored away somewhere in our brain. And the more we look at things that are impure and ungodly, the more we will taint our minds and will hinder seeing what God has for us. But if we look at good things, then we will continue to see what God has for us, and we will be able to walk the path he has for us. I like what the psalmist says in Psalm 123:2. "As the eyes of slaves look to the hand of their master, as the eyes of a maid look to the hand of her mistress, so our eyes look to the Lord our God." Just as the eyes of a servant are focused on his master, our eyes should be focused on God and God alone. I like what Oswald Chambers says about this verse. This verse is a description of total reliance on God. Just as the eyes of a servant are riveted on his master, our eyes should be directed and focused on God. This is how knowledge of his countenance is gained and how God reveals himself to us. Our spiritual strength begins to be drained when we stop lifting our eyes to him. It is truly amazing how our spiritual strength is affected when we stop focusing on God. Psalm 121:1-2 says, "I will lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth." God alone is our source of help, and when we lift up our eyes, our focus, and our attention toward him, he will be our source of strength in all things. So today I say, see no evil. Don't focus on the things of this world, because it will cloud your eyesight from the things that God has for you. Instead, I encourage you to focus your eyes on God, because he alone is your source of strength, and he alone will lead and guide you throughout your life. Make Psalm 119:18 your prayer. Open my eyes to see the wonderful truths in your instructions.